Carolina's Democratic presidential primary takes center stage as candidates hope to gain ground ahead of Super Tuesday. And in our signature segment, Maracaibo, Venezuela, once an oil-wealthy playground, now a ghost town. Next on PBS NewsHour Weekend.
PBS NewsHour Weekend is made possible by Bernard and Irene Schwartz, Sue and Edgar Wachenheim III, the Cheryl and Philip Milstein family, Rosalind P. Walter, Barbara Hope Zuckerberg, Charles Rosenblum. We try to live in the moment to not miss what's right in front of us. At Mutual of America, we believe taking care of tomorrow can help you make the most of today. Mutual of America Financial Group, retirement services and investments. Additional support has been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you. From the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center in New York, Hari Srinivasan.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Health officials in Washington state reported the first death from the novel coronavirus in the United States today. Governor Jay Inslee declared a state of emergency and directed state agencies to use, quote, all resources necessary to prepare for and respond to the coronavirus outbreak. The person who died was described as a man in his mid-50s who was a medically high-risk patient. There was no evidence he contracted the virus through travel. Shortly after the announcement, President Trump called a press conference at the White House with members of his coronavirus task force.
Additional cases in the United States are likely, but healthy individuals should be able to fully recover.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institutes of Health, said the virus cases are being isolated and traced.
The country as a whole, because we get asked that all the time, still remains at low risk. But when we say that, we want to underscore that this is an evolving situation. And in real time, we will keep you appraised of what is going on just the same way as that we are doing it today.
Additional travel restrictions were announced for countries with the highest rates of infection, including a ban on anyone who has traveled to Iran in the past 2 weeks or to regions of Italy and South Korea.
The President today has authorized the State Department to increase the travel advisory for Americans to level 4. We are urging Americans to not travel to the areas in Italy and the areas in South Korea that are most affected by the coronavirus.
The Federal Food and Drug Administration announced a new policy today that allows laboratories to develop their own tests for COVID-19, vastly increasing the capacity for diagnostic testing across the country. Italy announced 8 more deaths and 240 more cases since yesterday, raising the number of cases to more than 1,100 people. South Korea announced 600 additional cases, the biggest single-day increase. The number of cases in that country is now more than 3,000 people. Polls opened at 7 this morning throughout South Carolina for the first in the South primary vote for the Democratic nominee for president. Former Vice President Joe Biden was out greeting voters in Greenville, hoping to maintain his polling lead in the crowded field. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren made her appeal in Columbia. South Carolina represents the first major test of the candidate's appeal to African-American voters. And the primary comes just 3 days before Super Tuesday, when voters in 14 states and 1 U.S. territory will cast their ballots. With their sights set on Tuesday, several candidates were campaigning outside South Carolina today. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders was in Massachusetts. Others have rallies and events planned tonight across the country. We'll have more from South Carolina coming up on the broadcast. The United States and the Taliban signed a peace agreement today that sets the stage for an end to the 18-year war in Afghanistan. U.S. envoy Zalmay Khalilzad and Taliban leader Mullah Abdul Ghani Baradar signed the agreement. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called it a step towards stability in the region.
We are seizing the best opportunity for peace in a generation, built on the hard work of our soldiers, diplomats, businessmen, aid workers, friends, and the Afghans themselves.
The terms of the agreement state that in exchange for the withdrawal of U.S. troops, the Taliban promises not to support extremism in Afghanistan. At a ceremony in Kabul today, Secretary of Defense Mark Esper and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani signed a joint statement committing the Afghan government to the conditional deal.
Our declaration acknowledges the deep bonds shared by Afghan and U.S. forces and reflects our commitment to working together to achieve a sustainable, negotiated agreement that ends the war for the benefit of all Afghans.
More than 2,400 U.S. troops and tens of thousands of Afghans have died in the war since operations began there in 2001. Turkey opened its borders with Europe today, allowing Syrian migrants and refugees to flee to the continent. In response, Greece reinforced its border to stop the wave of migrants from entering, leading to clashes between the refugees and Greek authorities. Nearly 950,000 civilians have been pushed toward the Syrian-Turkish border during ongoing fighting in Syria and cold weather. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that Turkey cannot handle the migrants and that he has no plan to reverse his decision. NewsHour political reporter Dan Bush is in Columbia, South Carolina. He joins me now with the latest on the primary there. Dan, you've been there for a few days now. You've talked to different types of communities. What is the thing that's driving their interest in this primary?
Well, Hari, the number one thing for so many voters is electability. They want to see a Democrat emerge from this crowded primary field, still crowded, with a bunch of people there at the top, who can beat President Donald Trump. That's what voters told me again and again across the state in the last couple of days. They want a Democrat who is electable. They all agree on that. However, the party voters are still very divided about who they think can do the best job. Down here in South Carolina, former Vice President Joe Biden has been leading in polls. So there are a lot of voters leaning in his direction. But more progressive voters are still looking at Bernie Sanders here in South Carolina, and also Pete Buttigieg as well. Those are the three that are sort of standing out the most. Mm-hmm. And the billionaire environmentalist Tom Steyer has been doing well here as well.
And why his impact? Is it just about the amount of money that he's able to spend on the ground?
That's what sources tell me, yeah. And when you're here in South Carolina, he has his presence is everywhere. Field offices and posters and signage, organizers. So he has put a lot of money into South Carolina. He's put all of his eggs into this basket, so to speak, really trying to have a strong showing. It is working. He's also blanketing the state with advertising on television. So we've seen him sort of close the gap and move up in the polls in the last couple of weeks to the point that, at least in the last couple of days, he's been polling within 10 points of Sanders. So he could potentially come in third place here, which would be a remarkable showing for someone who's never run for office before.
You know, African Americans in South Carolina, a lot of them that we've spoken to in the past say, hey, you know what? Politicians come by every 4 years. They want our votes. They tell us what we want to hear. And then they forget us. Is it any different this time?
It's not, Hari. That's a very good point. I spoke to a lot of African-American voters who said just that. A lot of them are going to support Joe Biden, but they did say, we're not confident that Joe Biden or any Democrat will deliver on the promises that they're making. So there is a sense of almost resignation among black voters. One gentleman told me, we're important up until Saturday, today, the primary day, and then we're forgotten, as you said, for the last 4 years. So there is a lot of frustration among that voting group who feel, a lot of voters told me, that Democrats sort of take their vote for granted, come down here, get it, and then leave.
Are there specific issues that are driving different parts of the electorate? I mean, there's lots and lots of South Carolina that are rural, and a few sort of suburbs and exurbs, and you have a couple of big cities. But really, it's not a very kind of urban-centric state.
That's right. The rural vote here is critical. It's often overlooked. In the 2016 Democratic primary, 66% of the votes cast in South Carolina were cast outside of the three major urban areas of Greenville, Columbia, and Charleston. So the suburban and rural vote here is critical, and the issues there are different. There are poorer, less affluent areas where there's not a lot of access to health care. In a lot of rural parts of the state, folks have to drive 30 minutes or longer just to get to a hospital. Transportation issues, also big from the perspective of a lot of voters I spoke to who said that they have trouble getting to and from work. Education as well, internet access. You go to rural parts of the state and you see advertisements for internet everywhere. So there's a lot of sort of basic basic needs that voters want addressed, which voters in cities, on the other hand, sort of have, not everybody, of course, but have more coverage. So you see more progressive Democrats in the urban areas who are moving towards Sanders or Warren, and folks outside of the cities who want sort of the basic things covered.
All right, NewsHour's Dan Bush joining us from Columbia, South Carolina. Hopefully they will not have to keep watching all those ads on TV after tonight there. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
For more on the 2020 presidential race and the latest results from the South Carolina primary, visit pbs.org/newshour. We turn now to Venezuela, which finds itself more than a year into the standoff for leadership between Socialist President Nicolas Maduro and opposition leader Juan Guaido. All week, NewsHour has been reporting on the political and economic turmoil in that country and the upheaval that is creating a humanitarian crisis in the once wealthy and thriving nation. Tonight, NewsHour Weekend Special Correspondent Marcia Biggs takes us more than 300 miles west of the capital city of Caracas to Maracaibo. The country's second largest city was once the jewel of Venezuela's petroleum economy. Now it's a mere shell of itself. Support for this series comes from the Pulitzer Center.
Sunrise in Maracaibo, and these people have been up all night, waiting in line for gasoline.
How long have you been here?
A las 6 de la mañana ayer.
This man says he's been here since 6 a.m. the day before. Venezuela is suffering from a massive gas shortage, so most of them have been in line for 24 hours, drinking coffee, talking among friends, reading the newspaper, doing anything to pass the time.
The thing is, I live here. You practically live here.
These lines can stretch for miles, snaking through neighborhoods and wrapping around city blocks. Once drivers finally reach the pump, they can only fill up around 13 gallons at a time, which among these many old cars doesn't last long. The good news is they will pay no money. Gas is so heavily subsidized in Venezuela, it's essentially free. But they do pay a heavy price with their time. And when the gas is gone for the day, it's gone. I want to explode, says Eddie Rincon. He waited in line almost 24 hours only to now be told there was no gas left.
Can you imagine how I feel? Pained, cheated, and humiliated by all of it.
The frustration and preoccupation with filling the tank on a regular basis really dominates daily life here. Everything revolves around what time do I need to get in line? What place am I going to get? How much gas will I receive? The irony is, we're standing on the world's largest oil reserve.
One of the most vibrant cities anywhere, Maracaibo.
Maracaibo was the oil boom town of South America, Venezuela's second largest city and home to 2/3 of its oil production, drawing companies and workers from all over the world, including the United States.
Another familiar sight was a used car lot full of American autos.
Once a city where Venezuela's glitterati went to suntan and make money, and to spend it, now a ghost town. And Lake Maracaibo, once thought to be one of the most beautiful lakes in the world, now a graveyard for Venezuela's crumbling oil industry. Rusting and stagnant, broken pipelines underwater, leaking oil everywhere.
How long has all of this been shut down?
That? Around 5 years. This is a cemetery now.
We went out with fisherman Luis Moreno, who grew up on this lake and is one of its few remaining inhabitants.
It's sad to bring you to this place the way it is. Because if you had come here 15 years ago, you would have been impressed by the beauty of this place. Before, there were fishermen, people swimming, having fun. We weren't afraid of getting covered in oil.
I mean, this is just an incredible scene. There's oil covering the top of the lake, the oil on the outside of the boat. There's oil on his clothes, oil in his hands. I mean, we're just surrounded by oil. Estamos rodeados de petróleo. Sí.
Todo el tiempo.
Once home, Luis uses gasoline, which he also waited in line for hours to get, to remove the oil from his hands and clothes. The entire neighborhood lives this cruel irony. And there's another problem, and one that's even more dangerous. Pure crude leaks from hoses meant to serve the community with cooking gas.
So he's saying that he's not worried about the danger factor of this because this is pure oil. They know it's oil. But what he worries about is when the gas line comes and they think it's gas and actually it's a mix of gas and pure oil. That, he said, could be very dangerous.
Luis's neighbor, Romelia de Silva, says her gas lines have been leaking pure crude for the last year and a half. And last year, she says she was trying to cook when the gas line exploded. No one was seriously injured, and they have since disconnected the hose from the stove. But they can't keep the oil from flowing, so they simply fill up these buckets to try to prevent its spread. We should all be millionaires sitting on this oil, she told us, and yet we don't have anything to eat.
It's not normal. It's not normal. This is crazy.
We sat down with 4 workers from the state oil company, Petróleos de Venezuela, or PDVSA. Maintenance worker Jairo Civada and boat drivers Carlos Vera, Jack Sanchez, and Larry Salazar. Collectively, they represent 50 years of service to Venezuela's oil industry.
5 people died when a house exploded. You can imagine the situation because PDVSA doesn't take responsibility for any of it. It doesn't take responsibility for the dead people, nor for improvements, for anything. They didn't answer for anything. It's run for your lives here.
Jairo has worked for PDVSA the longest, 33 years. He says production facilities on the lake have deteriorated by 90% due to lack of maintenance.
How does it feel when you see now the ruins of the industry that you dedicated your life to?
Actually, I feel quite sad because PDVSA doesn't belong to a party or to a government. PDVSA belongs to the nation, for production, for the benefit and the progress of a country.
The fate of Venezuela and its economy has historically been tied to the oil industry. It was oil that made it the 4th richest country in the world back in 1950. And in 1998, when Hugo Chavez was elected president, the country was producing 3.5 million barrels of oil a day, near the peak. Chavez began using profits from the state-run company to fund his socialist revolution, building housing projects for the poor and sending them free boxes of food. In late 2002, PDVSA workers opposed to Chavez went on strike for new elections. So Chavez fired 19,000 PDVSA employees, almost half the total workforce, and replaced them with loyalists. But over the years, his loyalists failed to make much-needed investments. And since 2007, production has steadily fallen, last year reaching the lowest level since the strike.
The situation is that these guys have stolen all the money. They stole everything. I mean, when they wanted to invest, they couldn't do it because they had taken it all. They destroyed everything.
These workers, who are not Chavez loyalists, say they continue to go to work but simply sign in and leave because there's nothing to do.
Do you worry about the consequences of speaking out?
We want the world to know what is happening in Venezuela. I don't have anything to lose. Let them see the cameras. Let them see because I don't care anymore.
Since 2013, when President Nicolas Maduro was elected, Venezuela's been suffering the world's worst economic contraction outside of a war zone. And few cities have suffered more than Maracaibo. Of the roughly 5 million migrants who have already left the country, many come from here, escaping failing hospitals and schools, rising malnutrition, unemployment, and poverty. Then last year, a catastrophic blow. A wave of looting after the country's electric grid failed and the city lost power for an entire week. Over 500 businesses were ransacked, many of which never reopened. None were hit harder than this former destination for vacationers and business travelers, the Hotel Brisas del Norte. Odales Vergara is the hotel manager. She's worked here since it opened 22 years ago. She says on the morning of March 12th, armed men arrived in trucks, prepared for demolition. Furniture, carpets, electronics, even the countertops were ripped out. Everything down to the electrical cables in the ceiling.
How did they do that? And how did they do it so fast?
She says she reported the incident to police but never received any response. Like so many others, the owners have left the country, and the hotel remains shuttered and in ruins.
It's hard, the recovery, because there's no help, there's no support, there's no interest. It's already been a year, and we haven't got anybody from the government to say, what do you want to do? And let's guarantee this. Without guarantees, who would dare invest in us?
Have you recovered?
No. No, I've been working here for 22 years. It was my life. I've been here since it was built, so the hurt is immense.
Even at night, you can see, or at least hear, that most of the city hasn't recovered. Generators hum during the mini rolling blackouts, and people line up for gas in darkness. For his part, President Maduro has blamed the gas crisis and woes of the oil industry on new U.S. sanctions imposed last year by President Donald Trump, which have further damaged an already crippled economy. Under mounting pressure, and like Hugo Chavez before him, Maduro's leaned increasingly on his backers in Russia and China, recently inviting foreign companies from those two countries to take over large parts of the state-run oil industry. They've been investing for years, but not managing production.
Neither the Chinese nor the Russians are going to do it because we've been waiting 20 years for those people.
And these PDVSA workers say that move won't fix the problem anyway. And they look to the past, to the days when American companies like Standard Oil worked in Venezuela.
With the Americans, the industry worked before.
So you want the Americans to come back?
Of course. They have to come here so that they can change PDVSA.
Oh my God, I want them to enter with planes and with all their equipment, with F-16s, with drones, with everything. I want them to enter in force so they can clean everything up and PDVSA can be reborn.
You're saying you wouldn't mind that they start a war here?
I don't care, because we're already at war. What do we have to lose? We've already lost everything here. We at least want an intervention to see what can be accomplished, because we're starving. We don't have clothes. We don't have anything.
We will have complete results from South Carolina's primary online tonight and on our broadcast tomorrow. And we'll have a look ahead to the Super Tuesday vote. That's all for this edition of PBS NewsHour Weekend. I'm Hari Srinivasan. Thanks for watching. Happy Leap Day. Have a good night.
PBS NewsHour Weekend is made possible by Bernard and Irene Schwartz, Sue and Edgar Wachenheim III, the Cheryl and Philip Milstein family, Rosalind P. Walter, Barbara Hope Zuckerberg, Charles Rosenblum. We try to live in the moment to not miss what's right in front of us. At Mutual of America, we believe taking care of tomorrow can help you make the most of today. Mutual of America Financial Group, retirement services and investments.
When it comes to wireless, Consumer Cellular gives its customers the choice. Our no-contract plans give you as much or as little talk, text, and data as you want. And our U.S.-based customer service team is on hand to help. To learn more, go to consumercellular.tv.
Additional support has been provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
You're watching PBS.